I just want to be a boss chick. Yeah, says no one ever. Just saying, let's keep it real today. Welcome to another episode of Chelsea's Live Line. I haven't talked to y'all since last year. Can y'all believe it's been this long? Happy New Year, y'all. I'm so thankful to see y'all today. Make sure y'all hit the like button on your way in. Today's episode is about the boss chick. Yes, the boss chick, because that seems to be what a lot of black women are saying they want to be. A boss chick, that's it. Not a wife, not someone of great character or great value, but just a boss chick. And what I did in the chat is I put a actual poll for y'all to do regarding telling me if high value women or boss chicks are good wives. Can they be good wives? Yes, no, maybe so. Let me know. And I see y'all in the chat. Shout out to Vina for being here. I appreciate you so much. And I want to give an early shout out to you as well, because I actually am reviewing one of these episodes that Vina sent to me regarding Anthony O'Neill. Anthony O'Neill created this particular episode where he's talking to a panel of men talking about these boss chicks and can they be good wives? Do men really want boss chicks or not? And I want to give a shout out to Gail as well for listening. So thank you so much for being here, y'all. And I wanted to say Happy New Year once again. I spent my New Year's Eve with my favorite group, y'all already know. For those who know me on social media, I spent my New Year's Eve with the Isley brothers, of course, Ernie and Ron, and of course Ron's wife Candy. So shout out to all of y'all. That really fulfilled one of my bucket list items. So I'm so thankful for that opportunity. I always talk about Ron on my show here and there because I love his music. And yeah, that's how I spent my New Year's Eve. I hope y'all enjoyed y'all's as well. But what I'm going to do in the meantime is get into the word of the day. That's what I like to do on my show. So I'm going to get started first with Proverbs 31:31, which says the following: honor her for all that her hands have done, and let her works bring her praise at the city gate. If y'all can think back to Proverbs 31, don't y'all realize that Proverbs 31 was considered a boss chick, right? Because she was known at the city gates, and her husband was known as well because of the works that she did, the works that she put in. It wasn't just her husband that made them known. She was putting that work behind the scenes. But the question is, who was she doing that work for? She was doing it for her family. It wasn't for her own selfish gains. And that's where the boss chick divide has happened. Boss chicks are doing this only for themselves because they think that these highlight reels that they put on the internet makes people believe that they're really happy. But in the inside, behind the scenes, they're over here crying because they cannot keep up with the lifestyle that they have showcased to everyone else to make them think is really real. That's the disconnect that boss chicks have. And that's why I'm talking about it today. So again, boss chicks are usually doing stuff for their own selfish gains because they think that if they are excelling with their material items that they have, then they'll get respect from other people. But that's not it, because having those nurturing capabilities is what lasts a lifetime. It's not about the degrees, because you can have an A in academics but a D in dating. Okay, you could be dating a GED of a man but you have a PhD only because you don't know your self-worth, only because you have low self-esteem. And that's what you really need to focus on. I'd rather you go get therapy than go get that degree. I'm gonna just keep it real and say that. All right. And I'm going to give you all an actual word of the day because I want y'all to excel this year, especially verbally. So the word of the day today is domineering. Okay. Make sure y'all say that. Domineering. And that means to assert one's will over another in an arrogant way. And I'm going to use this in a sentence. Boss chicks are sometimes domineering wives. They can be if they don't know their place, if their husband hasn't told them what their role should be like. So again, boss chicks are sometimes domineering wives. And I'm gonna actually use another example which says, turned off by his date's controlling and domineering attitude, the offended man motioned for the check. Yes, so this is the word of the day, domineering, which means somebody who's asserting one's will over another in an arrogant way. The question I have for y'all today is, what is a boss chick? And I went to Urban Dictionary to find out what this actually meant. A boss chick, that is a real woman that got her money right, according to this definition, and is ahead of the game. She knows how to hold her own and never ever lets anyone talk down on her. And wherever she goes, she's well respected. She's an independent female, and anything she wants in life, she achieves. She always aims high and reaches for greater things. Her standards are high and never lowers them for any man. Her style is classy and sophisticated and always got her hair and nails on point. No B, that's blanked out there, but no B can compare to a real boss chick. This is what the definition of a boss chick is. And I wish this boss chick would have made sure to write actual complete sentences. That would be a great start, because it don't matter how much money you have if you are illiterate to other folks, okay? And see, the boss chick example here is showing like, oh, how much for this bag? The lady's like $1,200, $1,250. The boss chick's like, great, I'll take one in every color. Like, that's just so ignorant. The boss chick doesn't have a mindset. Her mind is not set, to say the least. And shout out to Christina for being here. Happy New Year to you. I appreciate you. All right, let's get into it some more, y'all. Let's talk about the positives about boss chicks. And the reason I wanted to bring up boss chicks is really because of Gabrielle Union. Before I go any further, Gabrielle Union has been in the news today only because of the fact that she talked about her first marriage to Chris Howard, who was a NFL player at the time. She was married to him, but she said she made more money than him. So as a result, she said, hey, I get to cheat. She said, I make more money than him, so I think I have the right to cheat. So watch this real quick.
I just felt entitled to it as well. I was paying all the bills. I was working my ass off, and I felt that that's what comes, the spoils of riches. Yeah. And like my dad before me, whoever has the most gets to do whatever the hell they want, is what I thought.
Yes.
That's what she said. She thought that whoever has the most money gets to do whatever they want. Why get into a relationship with a man if you know you cannot submit to him if he makes less money than you? These are the kind of conversations we need to have prior to becoming serious with somebody, because we really set ourselves up for failure. That was a failed marriage only because she felt entitled because of the money that she had. She got all of that validation from the money, and it resulted in a divorce at the end of the day. That's as simple as it is. And thank you, Menelik. I hope I'm pronouncing your name right, but thank you so much for being here. I appreciate that, like the blue skies and seas. Thank you. Yeah, it's got to come into that new year right. But this is about Gabrielle Union, right? And she's married to Dwayne Wade now, and you know it's a mess in that marriage itself and whatever to that. But I just want to talk about the fact that she really set herself up for failure. She could have had a good man, could have had a good marriage, but she really felt entitled because of who she was at the time in the Hollywood industry. I am really big this year on building the families up, right? Whatever ethnicity that may be, I'm interested in building the families up because it's time for us to build it so we won't have so many single mothers, right? WCW, women control the wombs. That means that women, you can keep your legs closed and you will not have to worry about crying about a man who treated you wrong after you had a child by him. We have to think before we do. Think before we do. That's what your goal should be for this year. You know how people set New Year's resolutions? Your goal should be to think before you do, because it will stop the statistics looking so bad on our ends, because every black woman isn't the same. Every black woman doesn't want to have a child out of wedlock, but because the stats are not in our favor, because we're raising our children up in single parent households, everybody's looking at us like the whole majority of us don't know what we're doing. But shout out to the ones who know what they're doing, because it's called care. You know, it's called first comes love, then comes marriage, then comes the baby and the baby carriage. But we've reversed that. We've remixed that to fit our standards, which are lackluster, to say the least. Okay? What I'm going to do next is talk about Anthony O'Neill a little bit more. He had an episode with a married couple that have been married for 15 years. And they were talking about the fact that we have to build up our community before we could talk about anything else. Before we could talk about relationships, it's about the marriage. The marriage should be the focus, but nobody wants to talk about that. The modern woman today says the marriage is on the back burner. Forget all those skills that I need to be a married woman one day, because I want to focus on living my best life today, which is really subjective. So watch this clip as we talk about black fathers and how black fathers should not be replaced by welfare. Black fathers should not be replaced by the village, because the village is not going to be able to fulfill all the needs that child has without their father.
You know, black men and black fathers particularly are being replaced by the village. Well, it don't have to be just like, a village as well, but that's not as a replacement to the father, right? So we hear a lot of this village talk, but we're going to have these nuclear families where it starts with the husband and wife, right? Where we're on the same page, we have the same worldview, we have the same vision, we have the same philosophy of, boom, this is where we're going. You can't hit a target you don't have, right? So we got the target that we're going to hit, right? And then when we're solid together, then the children come into place and we're building something. How do you have a strong society without strong communities? How do you have strong communities without strong families? And how do you have strong families without strong marriages? Right? So it starts here, right, with the marriage first, and then to the family, and then to the community, and then that's how we make the impact on society.
Yes, community is all about marriage. Like children being able to see a married couple thriving and completing their vision that they have together as a couple is a great example for children to be able to repeat that pattern, because children follow what they see. Shout out to those two-parent households that are trying to be an example for their children, to let them know that this should be normalized. Okay, a single mother raising up a suspect son, or a single mother raising up a hard, domineering woman is not the way to go. We need to change that narrative right now. And Black fathers are needed just as much as Black mothers. Because shout out to Chantel, but yesterday she was talking about the fact that the stats show that a child could be just as successful with a single father as they are with a two-parent household. So that shows that the father is needed. The mother could be removed out the equation, and the single father can raise that child because they need that guidance from a man. A man is needed, okay? A woman cannot raise a man by himself. Can't raise a man. You could try to, but there's going to be some neglect that's there. There's going to be some void because a man can only fill that. That's why y'all have to be careful setting your child up for failure in these deficits. Saying just because you have the money as a boss chick to provide for your child doesn't mean they are fully nourished in all aspects, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, and physically, okay? Because sometimes, as we know, single mothers can really baby their sons to the point where they're calling them husbands, their son husbands. We don't want that anymore. That's incest, emotional incest. And it could lead to more, because y'all need to stop treating your sons like your husbands. Just saying. That's it. So let's stop neglecting our Black fathers, because we need them. That's the first thing. And then I really want to talk about the fact that some women, or some men, let me talk about this. Some men don't think that women should have a vision. Some men think that women shouldn't ask for much. And this is why I want to play this particular clip from Natalie Clarice. I watch her sometimes because she talks about the fact that men, if a woman is coming with her standards, then you should try to meet those, because there's two sides to every story. So watch this as well.
Some men really expect women to accept them with nothing. We're not. Get a job, gain some stability, make sure you have a home, car, career before dating. Without these basic necessities in life, you're very unattractive to a woman who have accomplished these items on her own. No grown woman wants to be in a boring relationship with a man with no dates, no chemistry, no fun, no trips, no nothing. Just having sex and arguing every day. Now, I know we have some women that don't require much in life, but I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to the woman who desire a meaningful relationship with a man they can respect, admire, appreciate, grow with. And the foundation to accomplishing that is a man who can fully take care of himself and has the capacity to take care of you too. A broke man can't make you happy, because a broke man is not happy with himself. If that man can't take you to dinner and pay for a glass of wine, appetizer, entree, and dessert, how in the hell is he going to take care of a family? He can't. Be smart, date smart, choose wisely, and remember, I told you.
Some people may not like Natalie and what she has to say, but the truth sometimes hurts at the end of the day. She said what she said, and she meant what she meant, because me, like, I've taken the time out to make sure that I've worked in life. I've achieved some goals in life, and I'm still trying to achieve some. And I don't want a man who's going to limit my capability because he isn't ready. For example, I usually date older, thinking that age equates to accomplishments, but I've learned that that's not the case. So what I'm saying is, if I dated somebody older and they haven't accomplished much, they're looking at me with the side eye because I have, and I don't want to compete against my future husband. That's the last thing I want to do in life, because I think it's about the fact we should be complementing one another. Where one is weak, the other should be strong, things of that nature. But I've dealt with it before, where I've come in with a certain salary. They come in with a salary. They're competing against me, but we had two different ages. We had two different stages in life. So we cannot compare apples to apples here. It's not that. And that's the worst thing in the world, is that sometimes men can be intimidated by certain women because of the financial status that they've achieved. Don't be that type of man, okay? Don't be bothered with her if you know that you will be intimidated and try to compete against her, because that's not going to be healthy for nobody, to say the least. And shout out to everybody in the chat. Gracious Greatness, I see you. Successful Melanated Dusty, I see you. My big sis Mona, thank you so much for being here. And this Party Line, I see you as well. And Truth of Talks, thank you so much for being here. But I just think that Gabrielle Union is being a bad example for women, talking about the fact that, hey, since I made more money than this man, I had the right to cheat on him. That is really negative. That's real toxic. And I don't know who was agreeing with that, but I don't think that men or women should think that way. Just because you make more than somebody doesn't mean you have that entitlement over them. Okay? I don't think so. What I want to talk about next is really just submission, because I think that submission is really submitting to the man's vision. A lot of women, they hear that word, they are triggering, and they are triggered. And at the end of the day, that's just what it is. And what's up, BCV? I would love to know what you talk about, the example. But anyway, like I said, at the end of the day, submission, people don't know what that means. It means submitting to the mission. It means submitting to the mission of that man and what he has. If that man is living on dreams and doesn't have any realities, then that's not the man you should be submitting to, because he doesn't know how to submit to the idea he has to formulate it into real life, into fruition. Okay? Like, a lot of women date potential. A lot of women date potential. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, she's not an example. Oh, I got y'all. I got y'all. I'm sorry. But I'll forget what I be saying sometimes. But yes, horrible example as far as Gabrielle Union. Yes, she is being a horrible example. Shout out to you, BCV. I didn't know what you're talking about. I don't know if he was talking about what I was saying or what. And Menelik says she's been walking around with Dwayne Wade for too long. And Christina's like, not an example at all. Yep. And she did reap the same from her current husband. That's what I'm saying. See how it goes, y'all? You reap what you sow. So if you keep doing what you're doing, it may not get you where you want to get. Look at that. Look at that. He had an outside child and everything. Yes, she is a horrible example. Thank you for that clarity, okay? And Truth to Talk says, completely agree. All the way. I'm saying that as a wife, as a future wife, you have to learn what submission looks like. And for most women, they don't know what submission is because they haven't seen a healthy father figure in which they should submit to. That's the problem. And this is where I want to get into a video that was on Anthony O'Neill's show, where he's talking about submission, talking about the boss chick. And what is a boss chick? Like, why are women boss chicks? Why have they decided to be boss chicks? Let's clear that up right now.
I'm going to touch some toes. I'm going to step on them with the boss chicks. One or two things. I think there is an innate motherly, I want to have kids. After you reach over a certain age, and you got set, you got all the education, you got all the degrees, you begin to realize, I might not have an opportunity to have these different things, to get a husband or to have children, and you become that boss chick because that's what I have to give. The other way is you have these younger women that become the boss chicks out of default because they're being raised by boss chicks. Ooh. They're being raised by boss chick grandmas, boss chick mamas, and they're being raised by these women because a lot of times they've been hurt by men. And so when being hurt by men, let down and hurt by men, father not in the home. And so they've decided, I'm going to protect myself. By protecting myself, I'm going to protect my daughter. And how do I protect my daughter? I'm going to tell her to go get all the education that she can get so she doesn't have to depend on a man because men are going to let her down. So go get all the education you can so you can provide for yourself. And if you have children, you can provide for them too because they can't trust men. And so you have this generation of grandmothers and mothers that have raised these children to go out, and these women to go out and be boss chicks. And at the same time, I'll touch on this just a little bit. They're raising their sons completely different because they don't have that husband that they can love on and feel on and touch on and cuddle to. They're replacing that because they have that need and putting that on their son. And so simultaneously, we're raising these strong, independent Black women, and we're raising these weak men. So, wait a minute.
A whole word, y'all. A whole word. And see, this is the stuff I'm talking about. Whether Willie Lynch is real or not, we know that single women, it started with a single woman somewhere. It started with a woman somewhere that said, hey, I'm going to raise my son up to be like this. I'm going to raise my daughter to be like this. And then it's been like a domino effect, just going on and on and on. And it's not going to be a stop because nobody wants to talk about it. They've normalized it, saying that, oh, if my son likes to play with makeup, oh, no, he's just trying to figure himself out. No, stop it right now where it's at because it's going to explode to something bigger. Then it's going to be too late because you opened the door to things that don't need to be there. But because y'all want to be so gender neutral nowadays, y'all want to do all this stuff. This is the reason why men can't even be men because y'all are making them it, theys, and all of that. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Unfortunately, it just is what it is. Shout out to Aunt Tracy for being here. She said a lot of boss chicks were born out of necessity and survival. See, that's what I'm saying. Born out of the survival because they didn't see an example of a man maybe in the household. They didn't see one as far as a pastor, no man to submit to. And they said, no, if all else fails, I have my education to fall on because that's not going to fail me. I got it already. Nobody can take it away from me. But I think women, we have to open up. to realize that there are some good men out here, because we know death. Hold on, let me see. Like, power of the tongue is everything. Like, death is in the power of the tongue. Death and life, right? Life and death is in the power of the tongue, as we know. So if you're saying there's no good men out here, men ain't this, men ain't that, then that's what you're going to be presented with. However, if you say that there are good men out here, there are men that are loyal, there are men that love the Lord, there are men that are not lustful, there are men that are getting to their bag, there are men who fit the necessary standards that I have, you will eventually be introduced to those men. But you have to be in the right places. You can't be sitting at home working all day and all night and hoping that a man is going to show up to your doorstep, hoping that you'll see a man when you coming out every blue moon. We have to put in the work as well, ladies. Okay, put that career, you're taking care of your career, but you got to realize that life is going to pass you by. Our biological clock is ticking. Y'all on TikTok doing the dances and stuff, but our biological clock is ticking. And what are you going to do when them dances catch up with you and you realize that's all you got? All you got is social media. All you have is that validation. All you have is a lack of self-esteem because you thought that the social media likes was enough to make you feel like a real woman, but that's not enough. No, I'm not going to take my validation from God. I'm not going to take, I'm thinking about futuristically what I'm saying. I'm not going to take my validation from social media. I'm going to take my validation from God, because at the end of the day, I will inherit a kingdom if I realize that his validation is better than man. Okay, greater is he that is in me than he that is in this world. That's what I have to say. All the boss chicks I knew were made out of hurt and pain. I don't think any woman wants to be a boss chick. And yes, see, that's why I asked y'all in the poll here, and I'm looking at the results. I asked y'all, can boss chicks make good wives? And I see a few yeses, I see majority no's, and some maybe so's. That's the conclusion, is that at the end of the day, some women can be good wives as boss chicks, but they got to know their role. They got to know how to switch that stuff off. Because sometimes a man does need to hear from a woman as it relates to his vision. Sometimes a man can't do it all by himself. Right? I will be clipping that part. That TikTok, and I'm saying the clock is tick-tocking. Okay? Pick your choice. You gonna pick TikTok, or you gonna realize that your clock is tick-tocking? Just saying. A woman's career is her greatest downfall in securing a marriage or concrete relationship. Yes, because a man doesn't care about your degrees. A man doesn't. Figure out who you're getting this stuff for, because if you're getting it just to go into more debt, then that's really messing us up as a community. The moms really don't want to see their daughters doing better than them. So they all competing against each other. We're not getting anywhere. We're not getting anywhere, y'all. And shout out to Gracious Greatness. And shout out to everyone on here, all brothers and sisters on here wanting to learn and get back into right alignment with Christ. Exactly. Amen to that. I'm going to keep this conversation going. What I want to do is talk about submission versus vision. I'm watching some of these clips from Anthony O'Neill, and I want y'all to watch it with me too, and let me know what y'all thoughts are of this panel discussion.
That same scripture, there's a difference between vision and submission. Totally. So when it says, wives, submit yourself to the husband, the scripture prior to that says, submit yourself one to another. So which means there must be... what does it say?
Pastor, now you playing with scripture.
That ain't what it say?
It was, no. So in the context, that was talking about the church. So the first part of the passage was talking about husbands and wives. The second part of the passage transitioned and was talking about the church in general. And it said, you all submit one into another. It wasn't talking about husband and wife in that sense.
So back up, rate that one verse right before that one.
Yeah.
So one verse right there, he changed this.
Not one verse. It was... Yeah, okay.
So let me...
I'm going to let you rap.
Oh, Jesus. We not in church today.
Okay, so...
If you take the word submit,
to
meaning
be under,
I'm going to surrender to your
opinion.
Come on.
There is not a healthy marriage where one person always gets to make the decision.
And that's my point.
At some point, you've got to put your preference down. So there is mutual submission.
And that's my point. Mutual submission, not vision. Mutual submission to whatever God may be telling you in this season.
So somebody clear that up for me, definitely, when it comes to submission. Is it the fact that the husband and the wife are submitting to one another? Is it the fact that they were submitting to one another only in the church? I need clarity on that, because I did see you say BCV, you said facts on that. And I want to hear which part you're saying facts on. Is it the fact that the guy said, hey, you're supposed to be submitting to one another in the church, or wives and husbands are supposed to submit to one another? And one thing the one pastor had said was the fact that, hey, submission is really a woman submitting to a man's mission, but at the end of the day, a healthy relationship doesn't look like where the man is just making all the decisions all the time. A woman should have some type of say, but at the end of the day, the man comes up with the final decision, but it is not the the man doesn't have to come up with the final decision every single time. It's more so where, I hope y'all can still hear me, so I see my Wi-Fi is messing up. But what I'm trying to say is that the man makes a final decision. The woman is going to give some type of input just to make sure that that final decision is concrete. Okay. But when y'all think about like boss chicks, think about how many hours you have in a day. Think about the fact that wives are going out to look their best at their workplaces. Then they come back to you and they looking like, let me take this makeup off. Let me basically put these sweats on because I'm not going to look good for you because I just look good for the work environment instead. And think about that logic, because boss women do spend a lot of their times in the office looking their best for the men that they're surrounded by, and they may be lacking in other areas for their husband because of that. Think about that disconnect as you hear what this man has to say about don't neglect your husband's needs.
If you say 24 hours a day, you sleep for 8, right? Some people, I don't sleep that much, whatever, right? We're just gonna say 8 hours of sleep, right? So you're 16 waking hours. You got a 8-hour job, but it ain't really 8 hours. It's 8 hours work shift, hour lunch. So you're just 9 hours at the job. The commute there, the commute back, right? 10 hours, easy. So 10 of the 16 hours that you're awake is going toward it. And so you live for the nights and the weekends. Now you're living your life for nights and weekends. Watch this. You get up, get dressed, give your best outside the house. She gonna get up. Look at my wife, right? She looking good, right? You know what I'm saying?
I'm respecting. She's beautiful now.
Right?
You know what I'm saying?
Right? So she gonna get up and get dressed like this,
to go
put the perfume on
for another man.
For another man. Have a work husband, all that foolishness, right? Have a work husband.
Work husband?
Right? I'm gonna get suited and booted, go over here and have a work wife, and we're gonna spend most of our day in those environments. And then she gonna come home, and what do women do when they come home? I gotta take my face off. Oh, so wait a minute. You had to go put on the makeup and you did all that to look good. And she gonna put on the sweats, tie her hair up, and take them. Look, watch this. We both at home now, right? Guess what? I still put on cologne at home. Yeah. Just to be like, where you going? Right. I'm smelling good for her. Ooh. I don't got to, I would do it to go out somewhere else. And then she gets to be around a man that is showing his position of power, right? Because he's the supervisor, the manager, the CEO, whatever the case is. So she's getting to see him make decisions and be, and she's seeing him suit the boot, just the best. But when she come home, she get to see my jaws on the floor, right? She, you know what I'm saying? Like, we've been married for 15 years, but she smell when you know what I'm saying? She don't see none of that. Like he don't leave his jaws on the floor too.
Exactly,
like he don't,
She sees the best side of him.
She see the best side in him, right? And we wonder why so many affairs happen in the workplace.
Because they only see the best side of each other.
Then they start, if something is happening at home, you're confiding it, you're talking to somebody, just proximity, just to the people that you're around the most, right?
Be careful with that proximity. I think this man has spent some facts there, especially talking about the fact you got the work husbands, the work wives, and the woman is looking her best when she goes out. That boss chick wants to look like a boss chick when she leaves her house. But when she comes back home, she unworked. Okay, all day and all night, and now she wants to sit back in her sweats looking all types of ways because she was in full grind mode earlier for everybody who got to see that. She's submitting to the male leadership she has at her job and saying, really comparing that lifestyle of the man that's at her job compared to her husband, just because she doesn't get to see the behind the scenes of her husband. And of that man that works at her job. And I'm like, wow, that is deep for sure. Just the logic there, because you really think about the fact we go out. We going out on the weekends to look good and smell good for everybody else to see us. But what are we doing at home to make sure that you appreciate that person as well and you're looking your best for your significant other at that moment in time? And work can take away from that. That's why I think husbands and wives should create a vision together as a family unit to create that legacy, not only for y'all, but for your children and your children's children. Create that legacy and not submit so much to a man. What I mean by that is, for example, a woman that's submitting to her boss at her job. Like, she has to ask the boss, can I take days off to be able to spend time with her husband? Like, you should be able to submit to your husband as a main priority. And that's the biggest emphasis I'm trying to make there. So definitely working for a man all night and day, you're submitting to that man's vision. Externally, that's not your husband. Instead, you should try to create a vision with your husband, create that vision with your husband that y'all can be able to fulfill each other. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what it's all about. It's about fulfilling that family legacy. And that's what we don't do in our community. That's really what we don't do, but we need to start changing that, okay? And do y'all think that women should have visions? That's the next question I have for y'all, because let's say a woman comes into a relationship, she has a vision for her life. Should she put that vision to the wayside because she's about to get married? Or should she continue to have that vision and see how that vision best pairs with the husband? I just think women should have a vision, because if not, what is your goal in life? Like, vision to me is that end goal, and I think everybody should have a vision, but sometimes that vision has to be altered depending on certain circumstances.
So are we saying that ladies shouldn't have a vision at all?
That's
You know
what
what
I
I'm
heard.
saying? So here's what
I
I'm
heard they
asking.
say, you figure it out and she listens.
So I just want to respectfully say this.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Okay, cool. I was about to say, 'cause my woman better have a vision,
That
but
is
it just better
definitely not-
align
If
with
I
my-
said that, I'm sorry.
So, for example, is an employee allowed to have a vision?
Absolutely.
And then they pick which company where they can live out their vision. They're not hijacking the whole company. It's the same thing. A woman must have a vision.
Okay.
And then
Just
she
making
has to
sure.
pick a man in which she can live out her vision, but not hijack his so that she can live out hers.
Yes, right. So that man's vision is top priority. Then as a woman, you have your vision as well. But it's important to make sure that your visions align. And that's where the woman has to do enough vetting. Because remember, women don't want to submit here and there, right? They don't want to submit to this man. I think the reason that some women don't want to submit to their husbands is because of the fact that they didn't realize what their man's vision was, what their husband's vision was. Because really submission is only for husbands and wives, right? So that wife did not understand that man's vision in its entirety. So now she doesn't want to submit to it because she misunderstood the assignment. That's what she did. And that's why you have to really be careful and listen to a man's plans that he has for himself. And as a woman, your vision for him should not be bigger than his vision for himself. Just saying, that man should have a really big vision because he's supposed to lead himself, you, and future children. Yes, that's how it's supposed to go. So do not have a bigger vision than a man has for himself. That to me is just backwards logic. So make sure you follow that man's plan, and you can have your plan as well and figure out how it aligns best with you. Some women have visions to be housewives. Some women have visions to be boss chicks. But remember how to turn on and off that switch. That's necessary, because some of the positives when we think about boss chicks is that some of them may be confident. Some of them can be. Some of them are determined. Some of them start and finish. They're tenacious with their goals. They are successful. Those are some of the positives with those boss chicks. But when it comes to negatives, the masculinity is a turn off. That's the first thing a man thinks about when he thinks about a boss chick, to me, is the masculinity factor. Are you going to be able to listen to another man tell you what to do about this business idea? Or do you feel like your business ideas are your baby to the point where you can't listen to nobody else about it? It's only you get the final say. That's when you're going to be arguing back and forth, because I think masculine and that feminine energy complement each other. It's not about compatibility all the time. It's about that complementing factor where masculinity and femininity are bringing a perfect fit. But to argue all day, that means that there's too much boss energy, and that needs to be toned down a little bit. Okay? That needs to be toned down. When is a woman's loyalty tested? When do y'all think a woman's loyalty is tested? And as y'all think about this, I want y'all to also think about, when is a man's loyalty tested? But first, I'm going to just give y'all the answer, as I've done some research on this. When is a woman's loyalty tested? It's when that man doesn't have any financial assets. That's when a woman's loyalty is tested. Okay, when he has nothing, when y'all are over here pinching pennies, trying to make ends meet, all because of the fact that we say that a man's supposed to be a priest, protector, and a provider. We put the emphasis on the provider. So we say, okay, when I'm not being provided for anymore financially, I don't know if this thing is really going to work. So that's when a woman's loyalty is tested, in my opinion. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, if difficulty comes. Exactly. And then when is a man's loyalty tested? It's when the man is on top of the world. He has all his financial assets, all his financial blessings. He's accomplished a lot of things in life. And see, when I was playing this episode earlier by Natalie Clarice, I played a little clip of hers. She was talking about the fact that women, like a man is really happy when he's made his financial accomplishments in life, because a man is happy based off of his money. That's just what it is. So a man's loyalty is going to be tested when he's gotten to the financial status he wants to be, and then he has the women around him that are basically fulfilling his ego that he has. So just be careful. Men, if you don't have no money and that woman is ride or die, keep her. Because more times than not, I've seen it when a woman has roved all these years with a man, to help him out, to pay for this and pay for that, and then he leaves her for somebody else who comes along after she's helped him get to his successful status. That's the worst to me. That's the worst, how a woman can fully invest into a man at girlfriend status. And he leaves her and then picks up another woman, marries her real quick when she didn't help him build up none of his success. And it's a reason for that. It's a reason for that. And I'm going to play this clip real quick from Natalie Clarice as she talks about silver platter treatment and how women this can be doing a disservice.
Worst thing that you could do for a man is give him everything on a silver platter. That is the worst thing, the biggest mistake that you could ever make when it comes to a man. Although he's going to take it, he's going to resent you for it as well. That is not what you're supposed to do, ladies. What you're supposed to do, guide him, direct him, show him the way. So when he accomplished whatever it is that he's trying to accomplish, he could pat himself on the back and feel good about it. That's when he's going to be so appreciative of you for leading him and guiding him. But remember, a man is built on an ego. He wants to accomplish things for himself. So when he's down and out and you're saying, hey, I'm going to put you on my insurance. Hey, come live with me. Hey, I'm giving you an allowance every week. He's going to take it, but he's going to resent you for it. And that's where the mistreatment come in at. That's when you start seeing him being nasty to you, cheating on you, doing all this stuff for you. Because you know why? He resents you for it. So don't do it.
And see, people don't really want to hear from her, but what she's telling is the truth. I know women in a girlfriend status, you have a man living with you. You are taking care of his bills. You are doing all these things. They're really wife duties, wife sacrifices, and they wonder why they don't get a ring. Only ring they getting is a phone call to say, where you at? Pull up, because I want to sleep with you. That's the only ring they get. They're not getting a ring on their finger. That's unfortunate, but to get the right ring, you have to do wife things when it's time. Show yourself as a wife, but that doesn't mean do everything and then now you expect the ring. Why? It's backwards logic. I'm like, we give up too much and then now we don't want to be married because we've given all this stuff away. And like the wife benefits at girlfriend prices. I talk about it all the time, but wife benefits at girlfriend prices. You got finesse, you didn't know your worth, you're selling yourself short, and that's why we end up in the predicaments we end up in. But change that narrative by thinking first and then doing to realize that you are worth it. You're more valuable than rubies. Okay? You're more valuable, but you have to understand that for yourself, and the right one will come. But we want that quick fix. We want that man to give us that attention at the moment, but give us heartbreak because you didn't realize he wasn't the one. Really, yes, men have to build their own success. A woman trying to help is like taking scissors to a cocoon. Exactly. A man wants to be able to see that he's completed some work, that he's done something on his own. If you give it to him on a platter, then how can he feel like a man? How can he feel like that? I don't know. Like, that's just what it is. I don't think a man will feel like a man if a woman's doing everything for him. And then he'll go ahead to the one that don't do nothing for him because he likes the fact that she lets him lead. That's it. Yes. I'm going to give y'all a couple examples real quick of where a girlfriend actually supported her husband. A girlfriend actually supported her boyfriend at the time, and they are now husband and wife. So let's look at this positive example of that.
So I'm 31, my lady 30, we've been married for 1 year, right? Yeah, I'm the guy that spent $115,000 on the wedding. That's me.
The dumbest thing you should.
But let me go back real quick. I'm gonna make it fast. We started off 18, 19. Of course, at that time we young. Everything 50-50, right? Everything 50-50. Once I decided that I wanted to start my entrepreneur journey when I was like 24, 25, guess what? It went more like 70-30 and she was 70. But just because a man, he may be at 30 and she's 70 don't mean I ain't had that vision. See, more women would feel comfortable supporting if they had a man with a real vision. Just because I was at 30 didn't mean I wasn't a leader. And she respected me still. You see what I'm saying? So as we go along, I started my entrepreneur journey. Guess what? She took a job an hour and a half away, right? I said, baby, listen, handle your business. I got this right here. I'm coming to get you, right? About a year later, I got us a house. I came and got her for a government job. I got her some benefits. And then it turned around. Now I'm 70 and she 30. The time we got married, we 100 to nothing now. I got it because you was there, you stayed down, you believed in me, and now we're 100 to nothing because she was supportive of what I was doing. And she still respected me as a man. She didn't downgrade me when I wasn't, doing my thing. And that's the problem with a lot of women today. Just because a man may not be up on his feet financially, they seem to down the man, but they don't understand the man with vision, though. Nobody got patience no more.
That's a positive example in which A girlfriend was ride or die with her boyfriend at the time. He eventually gave her a ring, but he said they had long history together, right? They started at the age of 18 with each other. They're 30, 31 now. He just married her. One thing I will note is the fact that he said that there were seasons. There were seasons in which he was providing. There were seasons in which she was providing. I would not advise all girlfriends to do that, but let me give the example of why I think in this case it was okay. Because of the fact they were young, building together, they were on the same timeline. They were on the same timeline. They were real young. He was just getting started and he was just testing the waters when it came to his entrepreneurial efforts. In that case, I think it's totally fine for women to be able to help here and there because they were growing up together. They were real young. But let me tell you, I've had cases. I'm 25, right? I've dated people who are 36, 37 years old. In that case, I'm not helping you fully build to the extent that this woman was doing because we're not in the same age gap. You have 12 years on me, sir. You should be able to have something established by now. I shouldn't be helping you get yourself out of thousands and thousands of dollars of debt. I shouldn't have to help you do certain things. In that case, no. But if you're on the same age range as the person that you're with and y'all on the same level, then y'all can help each other build because that's what the thing is. A lot of women today don't want to help a man build because they feel like he should already be ready-made. But everything takes progress at the end of the day. I want to give a shout out to Dre from Harrison Family Values. Shout out to you for being here, bro. I appreciate you. Mona said, men need to be clear regarding their vision too. Yes, because trying to be a rapper, full-time rapper, sir, that's not the way to go. Okay? The success rate is a no-no. Same thing with trying to be an NBA player, NFL player, whatever the case may be. The success rate may not be in your favor. What is the backup plan? What is plan B? Because if you focusing just on this rap career and you don't make it from that, then what's going to happen then? I'm going to have to be the breadwinner. We need to have realistic visions. Men need to have realistic visions, and I think a woman should be able to support that when you've seen that he's working on that proof of concept for his vision. He's trying to make it a reality step by step. Not just saying I'm going to be a rapper and I'm putting out these hits that only get like 1 or 2 views. No, sir. That is not thinking realistically, and no, I will not support your baby rap dreams. That's it. Nope. No to rappers. And shout out to you, Laura, for being here. Thank you so much for subscribing to the channel. Shout out to all the new subscribers. Shout out to my day 1 subscribers. Seriously, bars ain't hitting nothing. Like, it's not doing anything. I make better bars on here than y'all make, for the most part. I was just saying, like, you're not taking no time out to perfect your craft. You're not over here doing nothing. In that case, I'm not supporting your dreams. And a lot of women will support a man talking about he's rapping rather than support a nuclear physicist who is on the path towards success. I don't like that. We pick the hood guys over the good guys all the time and then wonder why we cannot create a family with them because they didn't want a baby from the get-go. No. No. I'm just saying. It don't make no sense. The math is not mathing. But boss chicks, back to y'all. At the end of the day, boss chicks, get rid of those titles. Get rid of the fact that you think that nobody can tell you what to do. The fact that you think that you need material to make yourself worthy. You want the latest Benz. You want the latest luxury. But inside, you are broken. Inside, behind the scenes, you're crying because you're crying for help, saying, I need help. I can't do this by myself. And that's where that boss man is going to come in. And he can swoop you off your feet only if you allow him the permission to get you off the ground. See, sometimes women don't even want to give the man permission to show that he can do some things that you're doing as well because he's just as capable, but you won't give him the chance because you think that I can do bad all by myself. And that's exactly what you're doing. They never said I can do good all by myself. You're saying I can do bad all by myself. And that's exactly what you're doing. As you're creating damage for yourself, you're putting your children into a deficit out the womb. A deficit out the womb. Seriously, that's what you're doing. You're not helping with our stats. I don't know what's going on, but the people around you are not helping you with realizing your self-worth. And shout out to Amy for being here as well. Thank you so much. Let's talk about more when it comes to the vision. Let me give you a negative example where a woman supported his boyfriend's vision and she ain't no longer in his life.
I know a lot of very successful people in my life. I never met a successful person without a real partner. CFOs, CEOs, VPs, presidents, they're both bosses. There's still a hierarchy, don't get me wrong, but they're both bosses. And for me, right now I don't have to do 50-50, thank God. But there was a point in time where I did have to do 50-50. There was a point in time where there was a girl doing 100-0, right? And she was just sold on my vision. And, you know, obviously she's not here today. But that was my wrongdoings. I take that as a man. That's my wrongdoings. But I just want a boss woman. Like, but more so is there's a willingness that has to be there has to be a willingness within us. You know, she has to be willing to sacrifice whatever we're going to go through. She has to be able to sacrifice whatever she might want for that point in time. As so do I. I live on an equal playing field. There is no, hey, my word is above yours unless it makes more sense.
Yes, he said some valid points there, right? That at the end of the day, he's not saying that his view is over his future wife's view. Everybody is entitled to an opinion. I like that aspect. But you did hear how he said he had one woman who was supplying 70% of the finances where he was supplying 30. He had another woman that was supplying 100 versus him supplying nothing. She submitted to his vision and look what happened. He left her. And that's what I don't like sometimes, where men have the tendency to upgrade again and leave that woman behind who has put in that work. So I say, as a wife, yes, help your husband build, because y'all are one. Y'all are one unit at that point. But until that moment, if you're a girlfriend, do the girlfriend duties, because that's when he'll wife you up, because he wants to upgrade your duties from girlfriend to wife duties. But until that moment, don't sell yourself short by taking advantage of the opportunity, saying, okay, he'll wife me up one day, so let me just do everything I need to do as a wife right now. And then he's like, I've gotten a preview. Like, I've already participated in the trailer and I don't want to purchase this movie ticket. Basically, that's what it is. He's watched the trailer. You provided him with the trailer and behind the scenes. But now he don't want to purchase that movie ticket to get to know you better, because he's seen everything you had to offer in that movie trailer. Don't be like that. I see the results. There's 18 votes right now on the Can Boss Chicks Make Good Wives. I see 22% saying yes, 44% saying no, and 33% saying maybe so. Yes, that's where we're at with that. Last clip I want to leave y'all with is women submitting to the vision. Well, I would really want to emphasize that tonight, that women have to submit to the vision of the man, because that's when you'll have better success, because we know there's a hierarchy. God told us. God is not an author of confusion. He said, you have Christ, you have the husband, you have the wife, you have the children. And in all cases, there are some cases in which wives do not submit to husbands. That means only if that husband is not submitted to Christ. You submit to your husband when he is a man of God. He's following Christ. Do not submit to a man that does not submit to Christ, because you're setting yourself up for failure. Who is he following? Who is he submitting to? That's why some of y'all get messed up, because y'all submitted to the wrong men. And then now you want to be boss chicks because y'all are butt hurt because of it. And then Gracious Greatness brings up a great point here, where he says, this coach who chatted about the low vibrational plates, that's Stormy Wellington, I believe her name is. Coach Stormy is supposed to be teaching women how to be boss chicks. She said, I can't teach you to be a wife, but I can teach you to be a boss chick. I can teach you how to do that. I don't know how to be a wife. I never learned that. You learn all these masculine traits by being a boss, how to make money, how to negotiate deals. Those are manly, masculine traits. But instead, you cannot teach you talking about low vibrational plates. Can you make a plate of food for somebody? See, this is where I'm saying we have all the money in the world. Coach Stormy was literally crying on a video because of the fact that she said that this is too much responsibility on me, trying to make ends meet by myself, trying to make this money by myself. But you see her all on the pictures. I think she has 3 children, 3 baby daddies, but all on the pictures, she looks real happy and everything. But behind the scenes, she's hurting, and because she obviously, who doesn't want to be a wife? Who doesn't want to be a wife? I'm just saying, like, as a woman, we think about our wedding day. When we're a young girl, we think about the fact we're in our white dress. We can walk down the aisle and be able to be handed off to our Prince Charming, to our husband one day. Who doesn't want to be a wife? Like, we put that on the back burner thinking we have time. But let me tell you, our Asian, our Indian, our white counterparts, our Caucasian counterparts are over here planning their weddings before they graduate from college. Literally, I've seen so many people that I know who've graduated from college and now they got a new last name. I can't even remember. I can't even find them on Facebook, all because they got a new last name now. But we don't think like that because we say we have time. I'm not saying get married at 18, but think of a plan. Just like you do your little plans for other things in life, make sure you make a plan to be a wife, because I bet nobody has put that on their New Year's resolutions, New Year's goals to be a wife, to figure out what am I lacking that's not making me a wife? What am I lacking that's preventing me from being a wife? For me, I want to learn how to cook more. There's things I know how to cook, but there's more I want to learn how to cook. So one thing I go do is go over to Mona's channel. Shout out to you, Mona. But I go over to your channel and watch some of the videos you've made regarding food. Okay, this is how I make this, this apple oatmeal. This is how I make the turkey meatballs. Things of that nature. Just learning, okay? Because Mona be hitting us up with these cooking videos. Shout out to you, Mona. Put your link in the chat for your YouTube channel. But for real, she makes a lot of YouTube shorts talking about the different. You're very welcome. Talk about the different recipes that you can figure out, because cooking is one asset that we should be able to learn. Okay, start with the basics, work your way up from there. But I'm definitely gonna be in that kitchen with wrist twisting like a stir fry. I definitely am gonna be doing that, to say the least. Okay, whip it up real good. Yes. Mona said they say they don't because they missed their bus for that opportunity. Okay, like they say they don't. Yeah, because they missed their bus. And you missed the bus because you were over here riding the CC. You were over here living your best life, giving your best years to the worst of the men, and then wondering where the good men are now. The good men are with fertile women trying to reproduce. And like Mona said, they're not with the women that's out here freezing their eggs, trying to have that back burner plan. No. Think now. If you're a young woman, think about the fact that you can be successfully with a husband if you take the time out to perfect your skills, perfect your craft. What are you really bringing to the table? Because everybody has to bring something to the table. Otherwise, nothing's going to be happening. No festivities are going to take place. You maybe need to learn how to cook better. Maybe you need to learn how to clean better. Maybe you need to learn how to talk to people better. There's always something we can work on as women. And this is the year to do it, especially if you want to be a wife. Okay? My goal is to be a wife. My goal is to be able to submit to my husband, because I know my husband is submit material. I'm not going to set myself up for failure. Okay? And submission isn't slavery. It's just submitting to the vision of your husband. Submission is submitting to that vision. Because once you see that vision that he has, you're going to want to follow that plan, because you know that he has action steps to reach it, to say the least. But Gabrielle Union, good luck. The ones who follow in Gabrielle Union and her ways and her logic or lack of logic, good luck, because that's not going to get you a husband. Thinking that because you make more than this man that you can be able to cheat on him and disrespect him and you can't submit to him. There are women who make more money than a man, but they'll still submit to him out of respect, because that's what you're supposed to do. If you're a respectful woman, it won't matter how much a man makes, you can be able to submit to him if you signed up for his vision, if you signed up for submission. That's just what it is. I want y'all to hear this last clip about women submitting to vision, and we'll get into the final episode. We'll get into the final parts of the episode tonight. So stay tuned, y'all.
And it doesn't matter how the money is split, because it's going to change in seasons of our lives.
Absolutely.
What can't happen is the vision for our household cannot be 50-50. Because that's when you're talking about, now we're button heads. Now, so watch this. The man has to have 100% of the vision, and the wife has to be 100% bought in. It's not 50-50, 80-20, it's 100-100.
Absolutely.
And the whole, wives submit to your husband, and they don't like that in the Bible and all that. Here's what they don't understand. Before you say I do, you get to pick what vision you're going to submit to. So you got to hear that vision and make sure that's something I can 100% commit to. And when we're agreeing on the vision, there's not a conflict, there's not arguing, there's not fighting, and it doesn't matter who's paying the bills in this season of our marriage.
That's right. And I agree with you wholeheartedly. And I want to say this is...
Yes. Submit to that vision of that man, but don't be playing thinking a man is going to be the top rapper. He's going to be the new Migos. He's going to be the new Snoop Dogg. If you know he over here playing with his vision, then don't submit to it at the end of the day. That's all I got to say. Mona said it's time to invest. It's time to invest in ourselves for our future families and spouses, because this is what my focus is on this year. It's really building the families up, creating families. That's what we should be about. Not creating single motherhood off the rip. Not saying I'm going to find a surrogate. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I'm going to freeze my eggs. All these backup plans instead of just submitting to a man, being able to get married to him, and then have children, have a happy family, have a happy ending. We don't want to do that. We don't want to put the work in, and that's why we're in the deficit that we're in. It's really sad, but I appreciate y'all so much for being here. Make sure to hit that like button. Boss chicks, stop being domineering. That was the word of the day, meaning to assert one's will over another in an arrogant way. Don't be like that. Don't be domineering, and try to be submissive in your actions. Try to be that calm and quiet spirit, because that's going to get you a return on that investment. Again, the Proverbs 31 woman, she was a boss chick, but she knew how to turn it on and off because she was supporting her family. Honor her for all that her hands have done, and let her works bring her praise at the city gates. All right. Don't be doing this stuff for self-gain. Don't be getting all these material items just for yourself. Instead, build a legacy for your family, because that's what you all have at the end of the day. Your family to rely on, your family to build with. So shout out to y'all. I appreciate y'all so much for being here. Thank y'all so much for y'all support. I'll be seeing y'all next week, God willing. Happy New Year. And I'll be back next week for another episode of Chelsea's Live Line.